Yo! What's good, y'all? It's Project Man, and today we're back at another video, and this is going to be the review, man. Just finished with WWE's 2025 Money in the Bank. This is the official review. So let's go ahead and do this right now. You know what? Even better. Let's do this. Well, actually, I can't even do. Oh, I could do it like this, but nah. Let me just go like this. Yeah, because it ain't gonna work like how I think it is. Anyway, Money in the Bank was a pretty. I'm gonna start off saying this. I thought it was a good show tonight. You know what I'm saying? Obviously they're flaunting their record breaking and all this other stuff like in the press conference they were doing not that long ago. But we just gonna go ahead and give our aficionado thoughts on the show, man. We're gonna do that right about now. I'm gonna probably take these glasses on and off because we got nothing to turn back on my head now. Anyway, so first we started off the show, man. It was a good show, bro. Man. First we started off the show with the women's Money in the Bank match, man. I didn't have notes. I'm not a note taking guy when it comes to these things. I just kind of say what happened and give my thoughts. I posted some of my clips on TikTok, so you can go ahead and check that out. See, that's why we got the goddamn TikTok right here. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so the first match was the women's Money in the Bank ladder match, and then what happened in this match was we got a couple of spots that the spot that I had thought was going to happen. I should have probably mentioned it in my preview was, if you know Stephanie Vaquer's Devil's Kiss, where she has you in between the legs. I know everybody wants that position. She's in between your legs and she basically uses her legs to bounce your head up and down up into the goddamn mat or whatever platform she chooses. And she did it on a ladder to Rhea Ripley multiple times over and over again. And that's funny because I was like, I literally was thinking to myself, there's no way we don't, and she calls it Devil's Kiss. I was like, there's no way we don't get that on a ladder to somebody. I didn't know who it was going to be to, but it ended up being a Rhea Ripley. And oh yeah, the crowd definitely was doing their Booker T commentary every time she hit the face where they go, you know what I'm saying? We was doing that. You know what I'm saying? I think there was another spot where they hit double sunset flip power bombs onto a ladder. You know what I'm saying? That was another spot. I'm not gonna go into like every single detail because I know y'all just be kind of wanting to have a little chit chat. Y'all don't want me to be calling move for move what happened except for the highlights. And Naomi got the win here, man. Naomi did end up getting the win. She ended up grabbing that briefcase. And yes, it was a great moment to see. I actually, in my preview, I wanted her to win, but I was trying to go what the WWE might do. And I was like, man, I think the WWE, they're gonna probably choose Rhea Ripley. Even though I wanted Naomi to win, I was like, they're probably gonna choose Rhea Ripley. So to try to be correct, I chose her. I chose Rhea Ripley, but I'm gladly wrong that it ended up being Naomi, man. So Naomi is your Miss Money in the Bank, man. Miss Proceed with Caution. You know what I'm saying? And you definitely gonna have to goddamn proceed with caution with her with that briefcase. You know, adding more to the danger, with more to the warning, more to the hazard, more to the caution. You know, caution to the wind. Hopefully she can get a customized case like they did with Tiffany Stratton, and we should be goddamn cooking and eating well. You know what I'm saying? So what I thought about the match, I give the match a 7 out of 10, 6.5, maybe 7, just because I was like, mainly because I was just like, bro, the match wasn't all that great, to be honest. Like, it wasn't bad, but it wasn't all that great either. So that's why I give it a 7, because it didn't really have a lot of like wow moments and wow spots where everything really transitioned smoothly. Like a lot of these spots were taking like a minute. It wasn't like a whole bunch of botches or anything, but it was just, the spots were just really, if you watched, like the spots were just taking a really long time to set up, man. And there was, I will say, there was another good spot where Rhea was gonna go and hit Roxanne Perez with a power bomb onto the ladder, and Roxanne Perez countered with her Karana onto the ladder, and then did a lion salt from the middle rope, the backflip moonsault, middle rope onto the ladder onto Rhea Ripley. That was another good spot, I will say. And then it was awkward when they tried to bury Rhea Ripley with the ladders. That was kind of awkward because the ladders kept slipping off each other, so she wasn't really getting pinned down by the ladder, or it did at least look like it, I should say. So that kind of, what I'm saying? But like I said, one like it was a whole lot of botches. It just wasn't a whole lot of those. Because in those ladder matches, people got to understand, and, say what you want about them, and would you probably be right as far as, yeah, technically it's kind of, a glorified stunt show. It's kind of what it is with the ladder matches, because there's not a whole lot of, there's some story maybe, but there's not a whole lot of story most of the time with these ladder matches. It's really just all about people hitting crazy bumps and spots onto the ladder. That's what these matches are, you know what I'm saying? So you can only do so much different spots with the ladders until, the human body can only be thrown and slammed on the ladders in so many different ways. So, but it was, who else was in this match? So yeah, Julia, Roxanne, Stephanie Vaquer, like I said, Rhea Ripley, Alexa Bliss, I forgot it's another one, and Rhea Ripley, Naomi, all them. So they it's like everybody, I guess you could say, did fine, but like I said, it was just certain, when you would get into, I guess you could say, those wow moments in the match, it's just they were taking a long time to set up. Because as I was looking through my clips, as I was making the clip, I should say, and I was like scrolling through where I wanted to clip at, I'm like, man, like a lot of these spots were taking a long time to set up, like unreal, like, how we gotta kind of suspend our disbelief, right? But then it was getting just unreasonable amount of time. It's like, okay, like we should have been set up something. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it was a okay, fine match, you know what I'm saying? But at least the right winner won, so I'll give credit there where credit's due. So like I said, 6.5, 7, I get that first match. But not a terrible way to start off the night, considering we got a right winner. Hopefully Naomi will capitalize, especially what she's been through with, her, leaving the WWE and then having a run in TNA, which funny enough now has a deal with WWE, but being the TNA champion there, and then now winning Money in the Bank, man. So it's great to see that improvement. She's been doing great with her character, great with this storyline. Probably one of the few and only women's storylines in the last year that's really mattered. Her and Jade and her and Bianca. Like, that's really the only intriguing women's story in the last year that we've really gotten, So it's been great to see that unfold and play out. But anyway, moving on to the next match, which was out of nowhere. What was his name? I'm already forgetting his name. What was his name? Like, it was Dominic Mysterio as the Intercontinental Champion versus, what was his name? Was it like Octagon Jr. or something like that? Like, I'm trying to even think what the guy's name was, but basically, yeah, it was Octagon Jr. Okay, I was right. I was like doing research. Octagon Jr. Yeah. It was him versus a guy named Octagon Jr. And WWE, for those who don't know, about 2-3 hours beforehand, they did a PLE-esque thing with the AAA did a little Worlds Collide. That's what it's called. It was a PLE called Worlds Collide that they, did a deal with AAA on some of their NXT and main roster talent. Had some matches over there. Shout out to Chad Gable. Had a great match with El Hijo del Vikingo. They had a great match. El Hijo del Vikingo, if you know anything about him, think about Rey Mysterio, or maybe you may have seen Ricochet at one point on WWE television. Think of that, but like on steroids. Like, the guy just does crazy stuff, man. But and then Chad Gable obviously is just freaking great. They had a great match. But apparently this guy Octagon Jr., I guess he shoved around Dominic or something, and then they got into a little scuffle, and that just led to them creating a match, because they were like, oh wait, we don't have 5 matches on the card, so we just gonna put this one out of thin air. And that being said, since that means that they did the match like that, and that there was no emotional investment or real build up into it, and how all of us kind of found out right there in the moment about this match, unless you were on the internet. And they streamed it on YouTube, by the way, so you can all go see it. They streamed the PLE on YouTube, so it's not like you gotta pay for it. They streamed it for free on YouTube. But anyway, they had a match, I guess. The Octagon guy loves to do a lot of corkscrew stuff. He did a lot of different versions of a corkscrew splash type of thing, so he likes to do that. But yeah, he had like a moonsault onto the outside. So it wasn't a whole lot in this match, man. Dominic ended it with a 619 frog splash combo as Liv was distracting him on the apron. Uh, and that was it, man. I gave it like a 5 because it wasn't just bad. It wasn't like, oh my god, this is such a bad match. It's just it didn't get a lot of time, and again, there was no build up, no emotional investment. We didn't even know the guy. I mean, they put a guy just because they have this deal with AAA, right? They put a guy we don't even know on the They get a guy we don't know on the PLE. We don't even know the last time Karrion Kross. I think WrestleMania 40 was the last time Karrion Kross was on a PLE when they had that 3-on-3 match. I think. Yeah. Karrion Kross, somebody who's been getting himself over as of recently. He wasn't on this PLE, but Octagon Jr. It's just all right. But anyway, like I said, I gave it like a 4 or 5 because it's like it didn't go that long and it was out of nowhere, so it's not it can't even honestly I would say get a fair rating. So yeah, that's how that match went. As we knew, Dom was gonna retain. So by this point, I was 0-1 on predictions. But the crazy thing was, it wasn't that I didn't want Naomi to win. I just didn't think WWE would actually do it. That was the thing. That was my mindset. But anyway, we get to the third match of the night, which was the women's intercontinental championship. Was one after with the women's intercontinental championship, and I knew I was taking a bit of a Becky Lynch versus the champion Lyra Valkyria. Now I knew I was taking a chance here in my preview because I was like, oh, I'll take the risk of getting this wrong by saying Becky's gonna win it. And the reason why I thought Becky was going to win is because I thought maybe at the end of the match they could have Bayley return so that maybe Lyra would have to raise her hand, because that was the stipulation that, like, if Becky lost the match, she couldn't challenge Lyra for the championship again, or if Lyra lost, she would have to raise Becky Lynch's hand like how Becky did for her when she was the NXT, when she lost the NXT Women's Championship to Lyra Valkyria. So it was kind of that, that full circle type of moment thing. And yeah, they had a match. Only thing I remember is Lyra hit it was Becky. Becky hit a manhandle slam off the second, kind of her little rock bottom, off the second rope to Lyra. That was nice. I think they both hit a move on the floor. I think Lyra hit her finisher. I think it's like the Night Wing or something like that. Where it's like a fireman's carry, spinning you a little bit and then pulling you in where you land on your kind of head and neck region. She hit that on the floor, I think, and that's the only thing move wise. That's really the only thing I remember about this match. And then the match ended surprisingly with a roll up. It was Becky rolled her up and got the 1, 2, 3, and I was right on predictions. I was like, oh wow, they did have Becky win. I thought Bayley would come out at the end so that Lyra wouldn't have to suffer too much embarrassment of having to raise her hand. But yeah, match was like, I think I gave it like a 7.5. I gave it like a 7.5. They weren't bad. They usually have pretty good matches, but the holding of the tights, I don't know if I was against. It wasn't like I was against the holding of the tights victory or anything, but it was just kind of, I didn't even actually, when it happened, I didn't even see the holding of the tights. I didn't even see that part. That's the funny part. I didn't even see the holding of the tights part. So that was the crazy thing there. Yeah, so held the tights and got the win, and she's the new champion. So basically, Becky made her obviously have to raise her hand, and then but Becky, being the heel, right, she was like, that's not good enough. Like, yeah, you have to raise my hand and show every single part of the audience, like all 4 sides. Like, you gotta raise my hand and show this side of the hard cam side, right, then this side and that side, because there's 4 sides of the ring. And then that wasn't good enough, and she was like, now you gotta wrap the belt around my waist. And it was like, just, she's obviously doing too much. And she did that. And I'm like, after Lyra raised her hand, I'm like, technically she could just leave. Like, it's not, after she's honored her little handshake deal there, she could just leave the ring. But she's like partaking in more embarrassment. And I'm sitting there like, you could technically leave now. Like, you honored your part of the deal. She just asking for more now. But Lyra said, you know what, I'm tired of this. And when she, did wrap the belt around the waist, after she did that, she hit Becky with a German suplex. So that was at least nice, or that she didn't take, she definitely hit her, we're not gonna take it, what I'm saying? At least she didn't take no disrespect. Now with this feud, the feud was solid. I would say it's a solid feud. I will say it brought at least more personality out of Lyra, because for those who don't know, I'm not It's not like I mean, she's a pretty good wrestler, but I'm not a big fan of Lyra just because I don't really kind of get what's making her like a superstar. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's a good wrestler, but I'm not getting like the vibe of like, oh, this is a superstar, like top female on the roster. Like, I'm not getting that vibe. But I will say, this match did or this feud, I should say, did a better job of really trying to get some fire out of her so that it'd be something else. Or so that there's something more to connect with, I guess you could say, past the little woo that the crowd likes to do during her song. It actually gave her a little something more in the personality superstar department. So I will say it at least was a step in the right direction, even if I'm not sold on her as like a big time superstar. I will say this at least did something to bring more out of her as a star. But like I said, I gave it a 7.5. You know, it wasn't nothing bad or anything. But I will say by this point, there had only been 3 matches out of 5, and this was easily the best match. This was better than the women's ladder match, no doubt. So they killed it there. And I guess Bayley is going to come back at some point, you know, because that's the feud that has been set up. So Bayley will come back at some point. We don't know when, but she will come back at some point. I thought she was going to come back at Backlash. Thought she was going to come back this time. So they're good. They're just got done waiting their little pea-picking time here. And speaking of time, I got to hurry up so I can post this video today and get a video out for you guys. So moving on and moving along. But yeah, by this point I was 1-2 on prediction. Well, 2-1. Because I got the first match wrong and then the next 2 right. So I was 2-1 on predictions. And the show was pretty solid by this point. But right, it wasn't really feeling like PLE, oh my God, but it was right, it wasn't bad. We got to the 4th match, was the co-main event, which was honestly, you could say match of the night, past to me the finish. But it was the men's Money in the Bank ladder match. You had that boy LA Knight, yeah, versus Seth Rollins versus Solo Sikoa versus Andrade versus Penta versus El Grande Americano. Now, if you're like me and you have possibility, belief, whatever you want to call it, that or speculation that you think that is Chad Gable, he has had now 2 matches tonight. And he did great in this match, man. I don't know a lot of the spots in this match. I know there was the best spot of the match was when El Grande Americano got like pushed as he was on a ladder. He got pushed on as he was on a ladder onto the ladder that they had set up for the Money in the Bank briefcase, climbed up the ladder, and I think he was going to try to take out Penta, and LA Knight climbed that ladder to get onto the other ladder and to get behind what's his name, El Grande Americano, and he hit like a belly to back suplex, you know, one where you just lift the guy in the air and y'all just drop down. That was fantastic. Now the thing that made me really go, oh my God, is they landed close to where a ladder was placed. That's why I was like, whoa, because like they almost landed to where a ladder was close. But that's the spot I remember in the match. I remember the match started with them all attacking Seth Rollins because on the Friday before this, Seth was just beating up everybody. So you would have thought, in wrestling history tells you, you know, if the guy looks good on the night before, then that means he's most likely losing the match on the next night, right? Because he looked strong on the night, so that when he loses at the pay-per-view or PLE, it doesn't take as much of a hit. But Seth got attacked by everybody first, but then Solo got attacked by everybody. Solo just being freaking, showing that charisma and that just funny animated personality. He's all like, yeah, Seth, like, you know, they got you out of here, you know what I'm saying? And then he turns back and he tries to do the Cerro Miedo and trying to get people on his side, and everybody just was not having it, and beat him up, beat him down, beat him up, you know what I'm saying? Everybody started beating up Solo. And then I'm trying to think if there's anything that happened in this. Oh yeah, Penta hit a Canadian Destroyer on Andrade, which is crazy because Andrade's usually in these ladder matches and he's the one that hits you with a move on a ladder, but actually he got hit this time with like I said, Canadian Destroyer. And as the match was going on, Seth Rollins started calling in for reinforcements, and that's when his boys, you know, Bronson Reed and Bron Breakker came out. Bron Breakker was spearing everybody, spearing LA Knight and all these other people, beating them up. Was Bronson and all them hitting tsunamis and spears all across the board. And then Solo's guys came out there, which they set up on SmackDown when both of their groups had a face-to-face. So Jacob and JC Mateo come out there and they beat down Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker, and Braun Breaker ended up spearing. I think he ended up hitting a spear on JC Mateo through the barricade. And then Jacob Fatu, I think he ended up doing a dive. That's what it was. He was getting beat down by Bronson Reed, and then I think he hit like a pop-up Samoan drop maybe on Bronson Reed, sending him to the outside, and then Jacob Fatu hit both ropes and launched through Bronson Reed and sent him flying over the table. And then it set up for like everybody's out on the floor, and Jacob Fatu's right like covering for Solo and making him get on, and Solo, like I said, is laughing and like, yeah, I know I got this in the bag. You know what I'm saying? He getting up the ladder. And then Jacob stops him. This is one of those moments that it really started feeling like a PLE here then, because it finally happened, man. Jacob stopped Solo from climbing up the ladder. He was, he's watching out for him, looking out for him, but then he stopped him and said, I hate. He didn't say I love. We knew it was going to happen at one point in time, and they decided to do it here at Money in the Bank. He said, I hate you, Solo, because he usually says I love you, Solo. This time he finally said I hate you, Solo. Dragged Solo down, and he put him down, and then he did the jump up in the rope, boom, and hits the moonsault on the Solo Sikoa, and then he got on the outside, and I think he hit I forgot the move. He put Solo through a ladder, but I forgot if it was like a power bomb or a Samoan drop or whatever. But he threw Solo Sikoa through a ladder that was set up earlier, and he threw him through that ladder. Crazy, man. And then it ended with Jacob, left the arena. I guess that was his official face turn, because that's going to make him a face because the crowd's been loving him. So that, I guess you could say, was his official face turn, man. So Jacob Fatu, man, he's been doing great, been getting over well and stuff like that. Is obviously more than convincing enough to be a top guy. So he put Solo out, so that took out Solo for the night. And then, as we thought, and then they brought out, I think, El Grande Americano, because it was backstage. Chad Gable and his boys, the Creed brothers, had this ladder that had some type of ad sponsorship on the side of the ladder, and that was actually brought out later night, funny enough, by El Grande Americano. Brought out this, I forgot what the sponsor was, but it was like a sponsor on the side of both sides of the ladder. And like not on the ledge where they climb up, but on like the side of that, right? You know what I'm saying? Like not the part where you climb up on, but the side of the rungs. There you go. It was like the side of the rungs is where it was at. Yeah, so I don't get the overdoing it with the ads is definitely getting to it, because they plastered it all over the ring. Some can say it sucks. I've kind of gotten more used to it, but plastered it all over the ring, and then they plastered the Slim Jim on the tables, and it's just too much, man. Now they put it on the side of the ladder. Like, I get at this point the chairs are next. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, he put that ladder into the ring, and I'm trying to think anything else before the finish. I don't think I remember anything else that happened before the finish. I think I covered all like kind of the massive spots in the match. So yeah, then it was LA Knight, I think. Oh yeah, Seth was, because everybody was cleared out, right? Jacob did his thing and all of that, and he took Solo out, and all the people were down from Bronson Reed and others hitting the tsunami and the spear by Braun Breaker. Everybody was taken out, so Seth, it was left by himself, but LA Knight gets back up and he pulls Seth Rollins down, and they're punching each other and going at it. And then I think Seth, as LA Knight, who I predicted to win, is about to win this, right? Third time in a row. It's in LA. The crowd's going crazy for him. Seth pulls him down. I think he pulled him down and hit the ropes and hit a stomp on the LA Knight. And like I said, everybody got taken out by Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed and stuff like that, but then they got taken out. So Seth was left alone by himself, and yes, indeed, he did climb the ladder and take down that briefcase. Seth Rollins is now a 2-time Money in the Bank briefcase holder, just like his rival CM Punk. Yeah, it grew 9 to. I gave it a 9 out of 10. It told good story in there. The funny thing about it was everybody just had to lay there flat out while Solo and Jacob had their point in the program. It's just funny to me how they had their point in the program. Just had that all that time where it was just Solo and Jacob while everybody was just laying there. But anyway, Seth ended up winning it. I didn't think he needed it just because we know Seth is a multi-time world champion. He was world champ at WrestleMania 40. The last time we saw him as world champ was WrestleMania 40. And, he's been doing great in this storyline, being the leader of this new group with Paul Heyman and Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. That being said, I get that's the new story they're going with and how he needs that total power. I get that it does fit the story, especially considering he's been Money in the Bank briefcase holder before. And it was a great turn and all that at WrestleMania 41, but I just don't think he needed the briefcase though. Like if he was gonna, like he has reinforcements in Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker. So that being said, I didn't think, and I thought like a Roman Reigns or a Punk or whoever would cost them the match, right? Because Seth has made so many enemies. So I thought that would be enough to like kind of protect his loss there and have them come in there and cost them the match. But nope, LA Knight for a third time in a row loses Money in the Bank, man. I don't get it. I don't understand it. That to me, if he would have won it, I think that would have made it a 10 because other than that, that was the only thing that really was a downer. So to me, if you ask me, in my opinion, my perspective, LA Knight should have won this match, but beggars can't be choosers. We can't always get what we want to get. But the funny thing is, I thought Seth was gonna, or I predicted, or I guess you could say, I said that the WWE most likely is going to pick Seth to win it, but I went against it and said, you know what, I'm going to take a chance and say LA Knight. When I should have did that on the women's match, wanting Naomi to win, but taking a chance on, or wanting, thinking that the WWE was going to pick Rhea and should have took a chance on Naomi. So if I would have gone with, I think the WWE is going to do it, have Seth win, but take a chance on, or saying Seth was going to win and then taking my chances on Naomi winning, even if I thought Rhea was most likely, I would have got the predictions clean sweep. But I ended up swapping it, as far as I knew they would pick. I figured they'd pick Seth, but I picked LA just because I thought they'd do something different. But they ended up doing that with the females, so I ended up getting it mixed up. But anyway, with how I thought about it. But anyway, yeah. Should have, to me, gave it like 9 out of 10 match. Should have, best match of the night by this point. I think they should have gave, or I thought it was actually the best match of the night. Should have gave it to LA, but yeah. Anyway, I don't know what they're gonna do with LA Knight. Some people said that, or somebody said that maybe he can, not that they're gonna do it most likely, but somebody was like, well, maybe it'd be cool if like he won King of the Ring, because that's what the next thing coming up. Maybe if he won King of the Ring, and maybe that sets up like Seth maybe eventually down the road cashing in on him. Maybe they could do that so like he could still get a big championship moment. But I just don't know, man. Like the thing is, the more LA Knight loses these like big important matches, especially in his character's hometown and all that, like the more he loses these big matches, I just feel like the more it's gonna be hard for the fans to like they're gonna like his personality, but like people know in wrestling, like even if you like the guy's personality and he's over and stuff is popular and all that, that eventually kind of fizzles out if he keeps losing like big matches that he needs to be winning. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully that doesn't happen with LA Knight, and hopefully they actually capitalize and make him world champ one day. But they said it was not today. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, not to go too much longer, man. That was my little thing on that. We can maybe get more in depth if y'all want to have a more in depth conversation about it. We can do that, but for the sake of time, I'm gonna keep going. And that was the main event of the evening, which at first didn't feel like it should have been the main event. Men's Money in the Bank ladder match, considering it's called Money in the Bank, you would think a Money in the Bank match would be the main event, like how at the Royal Rumble, it should be a Royal Rumble probably main eventing. But anyway, dang, this thing glitching a little bit. Hopefully it ain't too bad. But anyway, it was John Cena, Mr. Never Seen 17, greatest of all time in the WWE, man. John Cena and Logan Paul, man, versus the World Heavyweight Champion Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes. So they obviously make their entrances, do their woes and their yeets, and Logan comes out there, and Mr. Humble himself, and John Cena comes out there. And the match Started out slow, which I was fine with because that's how matches should. Because if you start out fast, it's kind of hard to make it better. If you start out fast, it's hard to like improve on the match because it just has to get crazier and crazier. So you should start out slower. But this match was starting out slow for a little because they were trying to build up that hot tag for Jay to make to Cody. They were milking that for a good freaking while. But started out slow, but boy, when it picked up, it just was that's it, right? It just went up from there. But Logan did a blockbuster on the Jey Uso. I'm trying to think of different things. Did a blockbuster on the Jey Uso, and it was basically them just keeping Jey Uso at bay. So they were basically putting down Jey Uso and stuff like that. And then what happened was Logan and John Cena were not on the same page at a certain point, and that distraction of them not being on the same page and shoving each other led to Jay finally getting that tag on Cody, and Cody's hitting like a clothesline on Jay, or I'm sorry, clothesline on Logan, clothesline on John, and he's hitting like a scoop slam and hit a Cody cutter, even though it didn't look great because the way John was positioned, a Cody cutter on the John. I think he hit like I said, the Dusty jabs and the bionic elbow. I think the bionic elbow might have got countered maybe. But yeah, he was hitting both. Basically, he was making both guys bump like crazy with John Cena and Logan. They were all, they were on a roll. And let me see what else. So yeah, they were on a roll and stuff like that. I think there was a moment also where John, I think, hit like I think they countered eventually after Cody was beating them all up. There was a point where I think Logan hit was it on Jay or Cody? I forget, but it was like Logan hit his one lucky punch and John then hit an attitude adjustment, but I think Jay broke up that pin. And then there was also another one where Logan hit his pulverizer, where he kind of basically, I guess you could say, does a belly to back suplex where he like, fully launches him over the top and catches him like into a DDT. And yeah, dope looking move. And he hits him with that. There was another spot where Logan had the drone shot where he has the drone where you can like see the camera through the drone, right? And he has the drone and he's like flexing and stuff like that because I think he's about to hit like a frog splash or something on the Cody while he has the drone in his hand and while we're seeing it from the drone's perspective. So he had it in his hand and then Cody gets up to the top rope and hits a superplex. So we get a drone shot of a superplex while the drone is in Logan's hand. I've never seen that before, where the drone is in the guy's hand and he's getting superplexed and we're seeing it from that perspective of the drone. So he hits a superplex on him and then Jay hits a splash on Logan and that pops the drone out of his hand. So yeah, that happened. And then Logan was taken out of the match because he hit this. So even though earlier in the match he had botched where he, flips over the top rope and does the clothesline, he botched that and he flipped over and he fell down and didn't get it, which I knew was going to happen at some point in his career because it's hard to hit a move where you have to flip so hard and fast like that and always land on your feet. But that wasn't even what people were talking about when it came to Logan Paul, because Logan Paul took himself out when he hit I guess you could say when they call it an acai moonsault where you spring onto the rope and flip onto the outside. He sprung onto the rope. Like, think about it, like this is the ring. The ropes are obviously on the outside, right? So he's outside of the ring where the ropes are, and he does the moonsault where he leaps onto the second rope and launches himself into a moonsault and lands on the announce table where he placed Jey Uso. So he hits a Lionsault, moonsault, whatever you want to call it, springboard moonsault onto Jey through the announce table, bro. The not just the athleticism, but the technique. Like, he landed perfectly too. The table broke, landed on Jey safely and everything, launched himself far enough to land on him safely and to land on him, period. And the table broke too. So, like, nailed it. So nobody was even talking about the botch that he made at that point. That was freaking fantastic. Whether you like Logan or not, man, you can at least love and respect the fact that he's in it for the love of the game, man. Like, he's not just in here to get he's not wrestling like he's just there to get a check, you know what I'm saying? Because he's a name, right? He really gives it his all out there because you can tell he genuinely has the passion for it. So great spot there. And the spot of the night. And it's funny because I need to get bonus points because the match finish was not how I predicted as far as how it led to the finish, but the actual finish, like the 1, 2, 3, I actually got that right. But a black hooded figure in a black hoodie, a man in a black hoodie came to the ring. And by the way, John Cena was hitting a lot of AAs. He had to have hit like he had like 5 or 6 AAs in this match, bro. It's like that's the only move he can hit that is in any way convincing to end the match, bro. Like he hit Cody with one and Jay with one. It was just a lot of AAs were delivered in this match. It's like that's the only power move Cena knows how to do it, the way he was hitting so many of them. But anyway, a black hooded figure gets into the ring, and I think he like hit John Cena with. Oh, I think he took him down and started beating down on John Cena. You're like, who is this? And I'm thinking to myself, is it who I think it is? But I wasn't for sure, though. I couldn't confirm. And he took the hoodie off, and it is indeed R-Truth. And I think 2 or 3 times in the night, they did do the "We Want Truth" chants again. So we finally did. We chanted, we said his name, and he finally got here, bro. They brought him back within less than a week of releasing him. Because it released last Sunday. R-Truth, not even a week he was gone. R-Truth is back, man, and he beat up Cena. He was a lot more serious too, and they even released merch where it said Ron Killings, his real name, Ron Killings, instead of R-Truth. So I don't know if they're gonna be doing some type of story where it's his real name, or maybe this release was a work and whatnot. We don't know, right? But we'll see how it plays out and stuff like that. But anyway, so boom, man, R-Truth, bro, biggest pop of the night. You can see my reaction on TikTok, Twitter X, all that. Great moment. R-Truth comes back. It was an electric finish. I think before he left though, he hit he hit John Cena with the title, like how John did to him at Saturday Night's Main Event. And I don't know if Cody just went straight for the cover or he might have hit a crossroads. I forget which one. He might have hit a crossroads, but anyway, he either hit a crossroads or just went for the cover. I forgot which one. But anyway, Cody does pin John Cena 1, 2, 3, man. It was a great freaking finish. I gave the match a 10 out, even though I didn't think it was the best match of the night. I rated it higher than the ladder match, because the only thing that would have made a ladder match better was if the winner was different. But I gave this a 10 out of 10 because even though it started out slow, and maybe some could even say too slow, R-Truth coming back, I genuinely wasn't expecting. And like I said, when this match, pretty much the second half of the match, when it picked up pace for real, it just kept getting better and better, man. And like I said, R-Truth getting in the mix really made it feel like, knowing that he was released less than a week ago, really gave it that PLE-esque finish. So y'all, I gave it a 10 out of 10. And yeah, it was just a great electrify. Like I said, you can see my reaction on TikTok and or Twitter. But love and appreciate you guys, man. It was an electrifying night. As a whole, I gave this PLE 8 out of 10. The only reason why I didn't give it like an 8.5 is because I think LA Knight should. Well, if the women's match would have been better on the ladder match side of things, and if LA Knight would have won, I probably gave it an 8.5, 9. But that wasn't the case. So anyway, love and appreciate you guys, man. I thought it was a 8 out of 10 show. Good show. Hopefully they can keep having these, like, especially when it's the last match of the night where it's the main event, like it was with Cody and Jay versus John and Logan. Hopefully they can keep these matches, like with these main event matches, hopefully they keep getting those, like, it's not to say that everybody can return and debut, but like just having more of these big, exciting, story driven finishes. Even if it's not like massive, like fireworks, like WrestleMania 40, I hope they can continue to have that to make it really feel like a main event match. But anyway, love and appreciate you guys. Y'all let me know what y'all favorite moment of the night. For me was R-Truth coming back. Out of all the spots and the matches and moments you saw on the show, what was your favorite? Let me know in the comments down below. We can have a conversation. But I gotta get this video out. Don't know if it's gonna post tonight, or I don't know if it's going to get out tonight, but I will try my best. That's why I'm trying to end it out here, man. But anyway, at the end of the day, what can I say? It is what it is. What it's going to be is a project continue to come out with the content, the videos, bangers over and over again for you guys, doing my thing and doing it well. I didn't live stream the event, but I recorded myself, so y'all will see different clips and stuff like that, potentially even on YouTube if it stays up and don't get copyrighted. But anyway, love to appreciate you guys. Have a great night, and I shall see y'all in the next video, man. That is the vibe that DJ's on, and that means we just gonna keep doing our thing and doing it well, man. I shall see y'all in the next video.